Yes, invite everybody for this phones up. Yes, spread the word. Bring it to all your friends. Tell them to tell their friends. We have to get the word out. I'd like to now introduce Sue Morales.
Well, I think the turnout today, we had a little bit trouble getting a lot of stuff done. Arthur has always been like the keeper of all the boxes of information, the push out, do the mail outs. He's real controlling, and he got bad sick and ended up having to have surgery on his heart and was gone for a couple of weeks. And in that couple of weeks, things can kind of tumble down. We did as much as we could. Some of the things I'd like to say is, I never like hearing what happened that day as being called the Jumping Bull Compound. It was not a military force. The year before had been the ghost dance at Leonard Peltier's place, who was our spiritual leader for the American Indian movement. And it was also a religion that was still outlawed in the United States of America. They were going to be planning to do it again. They raided, they watched us on airplanes that year. That following year, I wasn't at the Jumping Bull, where they went to go do prayers for the medicine bundle for those that couldn't go down to Mexico where the bundle was. And they were there doing prayers. I went to Mexico. I had some troubles here, so I was down there. I was walking through a Zocalo main square in the city of Oaxaca, the capital. And I wasn't doing much. I had been up in the hills for a long time, and I wanted to see the place. And these two white guys came over to me, which is different in a sea of brown people, and had a newspaper, and they opened it up. And a lot of drug dealers down there will open up a newspaper and you'll see buds, and they're trying to get you to go with them to go buy pot. And I was like, I don't want any of this. They come up, they opened it up, and it was several pictures, 8 by 10 black and white photos of federal agents standing on Joe Stunts like he was a dead deer, holding their rifles, all happy and proud that they had killed him. They had said that he had shot and that they shot him in defense because he had stole one of the FBI flak jackets. The bullet holes on the flak jacket and the bullet holes on Joe Stunts didn't match at all. That's some of the things that happened. Leonard was there, and several other friends of ours who have now passed on were there at being hosted by the Jumping Bull family. But I was in Mexico, and they were trying to get me to talk about it. What did I do there? I was in Mexico. I was nowhere near there. And then I found out just on the other side of town from where I was Crow Dog and several other people. I didn't know that until like a year later. But Leonard had always been really good here in Seattle and Tacoma and in the Northwest area. He'd been during the 50s when people got relocated off their reservations because there was no jobs. They moved down to Portland to secure work. And they'd come back and forth up to Seattle, Portland, down to California. And he'd gotten real active. He was a good, and still would be, a good car mechanic, and he knew about roofing, tarring, general construction. And we had a place called the AIM House where people that were just coming into the city, this was in the early 70s, where people that were just coming into the city or just getting out of prison or just generally needed some kind of help would get to go live at this place. It was in the Central District up on 23rd and Yesler. And he would take crews out and go re-roof houses or businesses in exchange for used cars. They'd fix up the cars, and that way we'd have more cars to go in caravans, but then those people that were there helping would then have cars to be able to get regular jobs and be able to get back and forth. He'd travel to go fix cars for anybody, anywhere. The same way with tarring roofs, which was really awful at night. Everybody'd come home from that, and we'd have tar picking time to get all the tar and stuff out of everybody's long hair. I didn't tar roofs. I picked tar. We have this phone zap coming up, and I would like to see if everybody can commit to doing a few of the phone calls yourself, but to try to say, I'm going to tell 5 or even more friends of mine to also commit to calling some other 5 or 6 or however many, and see if we can get that spinning from there. I've known Leonard for most of my adult life. I think I met him when I was like 17 or 18, when I was with Ramona, and would travel around, and as a young teenager and stuff, and sometimes they said, you don't need to go there. Oh, well, but I wanted to go see it. It was some of the freest time I've ever felt in the United States, when we would go and do things there in South Dakota, or what we were doing in Seattle, what we did in Washington, D.C., and a lot of other things. And I'd like to see Leonard get out. I'd like to see him see his children again. With other people who've supported, have had all kinds of stress and strife added to them. When Willie Nelson, at one point in history, decided to support Leonard, they decided to attack him and go check his income tax, took all of his stuff from him because of income tax, and tried to say no more police security or support for any of your concerts because you supported a cop killer. Anybody who was like Muhammad Ali had the same kind of harassment done to him for supporting Leonard. Sometimes you can have trouble supporting people who are right in this country when the government doesn't see it as something is right. One of the other things when he was talking about treaties and some of the 20 points that people brought, one of the things that always confused me as a kid, we were always here, but we didn't even get to become citizens of the United States until 1924. That was one of the tools they tried to use to justify their taking and refusing to honor treaties, was because suddenly we were citizens of the US. That was one of the reasons for a lot of years I didn't even vote in American elections. I voted in my tribal elections. But I'd like either Dee to come back up here or to come up now, because I hurt and I need to sit down. So.